Hey everyone, welcome back, and this is my review of Parasyte Episode 10. Ooh dear God. Lots of great things happened in this episode once again, but I think the single best thing that happened in this episode was seeing Izumi's changing character personality once again. Like, this has been a constant thing throughout the majority of the series so far, especially within the last few episodes. But in this episode, he allowed 17 of his own classmates to die in order to stop Shimada, the Parasyte. Now, that being said, I can't say I honestly disagree with that because a lot more would have died if he didn't. Okay, so I can definitely see where he was coming from, and he definitely seemed to feel remorse for it or regret rather for it, because he did say that he'll take responsibility for it later on or something. So it's not like he did it without any sort of remorse or regret at all. Alright. But still, the fact of the matter is that he let it happen. And that's something that, several episodes ago, he never would have done. Before he took the trip in order to see his dad, he never would have done that. He would have tried his best to not only complete his mission, but also to, complete what he wants to do in terms of killing the parasite that's attacked people and not, but also try to save everyone. That's what he would have done earlier on in the series, but now, nope, his personality has changed so much, and I have a feeling that it's only going to continue to change as the series progresses. Alright. Also, once again, I have to compliment the animation and the music, which is all really good, the art, the voice acting, all that. Plus, I also have to compliment, once again, the lack of censors. It can either go one or two ways here. Either there's no censors at all, or there are, but they hide them really well. I'm going to lean more towards there are none at all, but they might be able to hide them really well. Who knows? But either way, though, I love all the violence in the series, because it doesn't really seem to me like any of it is censored. Unless something happens off screen, like around the corner or something. But even then, you see, so much fucking blood. So that's definitely not censored. So, overall, the censorship, once again, is amazing in this series, okay? It really is. Props to fucking Madhouse for getting away with this much violence on Japanese TV. So fucking good. So fucking good. Seriously. So, anyways, though. Other than that, some other interest. Also, Izumi and Murano seem to be on good, at least passably good terms right now, which is good because I am a fan of that pairing, so I'm glad. And the thing is, I thought for sure that Murano was going to die in this episode. Am I the only one who thought this? Am I the only one who thought, God damn it, she's going to die. She's going to fucking die in episode 10. I thought for sure that she was, but no, she's still alive, which I'm really glad about. And they do seem to be on good terms again, but yeah, I was so scared that she was actually going to die. To me, that was literally the most tense scene in the entire episode. Alright, because I was literally on the edge of my seat there. It's like, oh my god, she's going to fucking die, isn't she? But no, thankfully she didn't die yet. I mean, later on in the series, I wouldn't mind if she died. Simply because it would definitely add more character dilemmas for Shinichi. But I think personally, I think this is a bit too soon for her to die. And for that to work out the best, and that's why I'm really glad. That's the main reason why I'm really glad that she's still alive. Also, I do kind of like her character. I know she gets shit on a lot by fans and non-fans alike, but I do kind of like her character, and I'm really glad that she's still alive, at least for the time being. Okay, so other than that, we also got some pretty interesting explanations on the parasites in this episode. Now, I know this is an anime, so you usually really shouldn't bring logic into it, okay? But this series, at least so far, has had at least things they can pass off as logic in terms of explanations on the parasites and whatnot. A lot of scientific explanations on the parasites. And so, in this episode, we get some more. I didn't really understand it all myself. I watched the episode twice, and I still didn't understand it all myself. But I'll try to explain it the best I can. Apparently, the parasites are similar in organic composition to humans, okay? But the thing that makes them different has something to do with their cells, and I didn't quite understand that whole explanation myself, but sounded really good, so I'm gonna take it as something that's really intelligent and just move on. Okay, so other than that, we also got explanation on how to find out if a parasite is another parasite, which is a good thing and kind of a stupid thing at the same time. First off, the explanation is apparently if you pluck its hair, it'll shrivel up and die. And the reason is because the hair is actually a part, the hair actually becomes a part of the parasite. All hair on the body does. So that means hair on the head, like if you have any like facial hair, like beards or mustaches or goatees or anything like that, eyebrows, nose hairs, whatever. I assume like arm hairs and leg hairs would count as well. Any hair on the body, basically. Okay. It becomes part of the parasite, so the parasite will shrivel up and die, which it's really good to know that. And actually they created a new fad for Japan, which is whenever you greet someone, you're supposed to pluck one of their hairs. Which is kind of funny, but it kind of stupid at the same time because, okay, if you were a parasite, okay, or if you were a regular person and you came up on the street with someone who was actually a parasite, and you tried to pluck their hair, and they felt their hair being fucking plucked, what do you think they're going to do? They're probably going to fucking kill you. Now, granted, the government probably knows this and figures, well, maybe that one person will die, but at least people will know that that's a parasite, so they'll know to get the fuck out of there. They're probably going with that mentality, which makes sense to a certain extent. True. But still, it's kind of like, really, you really think that's going to save you? Like, personally, I don't. Personally, I think that would just be really stupid. Okay? Like, at the end of this episode, there was these two little girls who greeted each other. I guess they were best friends, and they plucked each other's hair. Imagine if one of them was a parasite. I mean, really. That would just seem to me like being really, like, dumb in a way. But, I mean, it does make sense to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's like, you're still going to die. Either way, I would think anyways. Okay. So, that's really my whole thoughts on that part. So, also the fights in this episode. Now, this series has never really been known for its fights, and I really don't expect any. I don't really expect any hardcore, like, shonen-esque action scenes. Okay. Or even fights to the extent that I've heard that, say, Berserk has, which I'm not very far. I've only read 2 chapters in Berserk so far, but even fight scenes to that extent, which I've heard are pretty intense, though not intense nearly as large scale as most shonens do tend to have. But with this type of a seinen, I don't even expect fights like that. Okay, the fights in this series, first off, are few and far between. And secondly, are more tactical than anything else, okay? That's something that this series really excels at, is tactical fights. And in that regard, it did very well. Like, that fucking scene where Shinichi killed Shimada. He literally picked up this rock, and he basically fused his own cells with Migi's in order to really change his arm a lot more muscular and whatnot. Which that's an ability that parasites have, actually, is that they can fuse their own cells with their host cells, which I really want to learn why. I really hope that later on in the series they actually give us a technical explanation to that, quite honestly. But that's basically something that they have to do, which we've seen parasites earlier in the series do it with their hosts all the time, but I think this might actually be the first time we've actually seen Shinichi do that with his parasite, Migi, so that's really interesting. And he picks up a rock and he throws it from, like, several blocks over. I don't remember exactly how far he said, but it was definitely several buildings over, alright? And struck him straight through the fucking heart and killed him instantly. Okay. And that was basically the end of Shimada, so that's really the type of fights that they have in this series. Very tactical, usually, and never really too incredibly intense, though. And they work, and it was awesome. Okay, it really was. Now, one thing I do have to wonder, like, I can't help but wonder this. When is Murano going to find out about Migi? Because I'm sure she'll find out about Migi eventually, and I can only imagine that it will not end too pretty for her. Because, Migi has stated many times before that if anyone else finds out about him, he'll kill them. No matter who they are. He even threatened to do that with Izumi's fucking parents. Let alone it's like random girl who Shinichi's obviously in love with and who's obviously in love with Shinichi back. So it's like, when is she going to find out? Because I would imagine that in order to help make the plot even more tense, she'd probably have to find out about it eventually. I just have no idea when that's going to be, but whenever that's going to be, it'll be like, that'll probably be one of the most tense scenes in the entire series if done right. If not, possibly the most intense scene in the entire series, if it's done properly. Like, if it's done right. Okay? So, overall, what I think about this episode in the end? Well, it was fucking awesome, of course. Like all the previous episodes in the series so far, fucking awesome. Like always, it just got better with this episode. Like, it just keeps getting better and better and better. Okay? The series is really good. Okay, and this episode in particular definitely showed a change of pace, including all the deaths, mainly including Shinichi's character personality change, though, which was just so, like, shocking. Not really shocking in the sense I didn't see it coming, but shocking in the sense I didn't see it coming this much, this quickly. Okay, and I really enjoyed it. So overall, tell me your thoughts about this episode in the comment section below. If you've yet to see this week's episode of Parasyte, then I definitely recommend that you do. I cannot wait until next week's episode. This was just a real blast to watch, and this is one of my favorite series of the season so far, and it really pains me when each episode ends because it's like, God, I have to wait an entire fucking week to get more Parasyte. So anyways, overall, I hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.